In closing, we've covered a great deal of things, obviously much more than you probably paid for, but there are no refunds. And everything you're going to see this year will help solidify everything you've seen in videos from me over the years. But monthly goals are absolutely crucial to you developing, because if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every single time. And if you're here to learn how to make money and you're not aiming for something in terms of monetary goal, if it's realistic, and I think 10% or less, and 10% is 2.5 years minimum experience, consistently profitable minimum 2.5 years like that, then and only then would I even promote the idea of aiming for 10% a month. But prior to that, nah, just aim for 3 to 6%. The end of the first year, you should be going into your first full year, going into the second start of the new year. That should be a goal of 6% per month, and accepting the fact that sometimes you won't hit it, but you won't be in a rush to try to get it before the end of the month. That's the difference. And that's also a growth that you'll have to go through that's uncomfortable, because you want to be perfect. You want to hit your monthly goal every single month. And when you go into drawdown, you're going to feel like you want to make it back. Or worst case scenario, think, okay, my goal is 6%. And on January 1st of the new year, when I start as my second year in 2024, you have a goal of 6%, and say you only make 3.5%. Don't go into February trying to do the 6% plus the difference that you didn't make in January. Just accept the fact that you didn't hit it. Learn from that. Develop responsibility and discipline not to chase the money. You're sticking to a process. Are you going to be mad if you have a six-figure account, $250,000 funded account, and you made 3.5% in January, 6% in February, 4% in March, 1% in April, 6% the next 3 months after that, and then 2%, maybe break even on a few months the rest of the year? Is that a failure? Fuck no, it's not a failure. You will not go into a tailspin because you're not losing your mind about losing a trade. You're not in a rush to get it back. You're not trying to do an Olympic feat. You're doing realistic expectations, aiming for something that's logical. Think about what the industry teaches: 2% risk. That's too high. It's too high. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that at all. You can do 1% or less than 1% and make all the money you'd ever fucking need. But the problem is you can't see it because you can't see consistency. Consistency doing the same thing. What's the same thing? Your multiplier. The very thing, that pattern that you look for all the time, that you're going to place money behind. And the money management does the heavy lifting. How many Big Macs did McDonald's sell? Who the fuck knows? A lot of them, right? They make a Big Mac the same fucking way. They've been making them the same way forever. My mom used to eat them all the time. I don't eat McDonald's fucking food, but I don't even call it food. But that Big Mac is the same shit sandwich that it was back in the 70s when I was seeing it the first time as a young boy. They're not trying to reinvent some shit, okay? It's the Big Mac. When you're going into your trading, the same recipe, the same model, the same multiplier that McDonald's uses for their Big Mac sandwich, you're doing that with your setup. You're not trying to make a fucking Big Mac a Whopper, okay? You're not trying to make it a fucking, something other than what it is. And you're looking for it to appear in your chart. And when it's there, you don't think about it. You just engage it. You do it the same way every single time. You manage it the same way every single time. Done. The same measure of percent in terms of risk you're putting on the trade each time is the same. As your equity goes up, you're going to be risking more money, but percentage wise, it's the same amount of risk per equity. That's the benefit of having money management do the heavy lifting. You're doing the same thing all the time. And as the money goes up, the effort and results are compounded because of more equity and more leverage being placed behind the trade. But you're not increasing it exponentially in terms of percentage per risk. It's just the amount of equity being allocated in that percentage. As equity goes up, your leverage will be going up. So your position size will be increasing, but the measure of risk is never increasing. Monetarily, it is, but percentage wise, it's not increasing. You have a fixed rate of risk percentage wise. And as you draw down, when you have losing trades, then you start scaling it back. And that's the reason why you want to have it like 1% to 0.75%, because that gives you framework to do what when you have a losing trade? Cut your position in half. Now, you can go in with the lowest level of leverage and start there. There's nothing wrong with that either. But I like to have a little bit of a horse in the race. And 1%, 0.75%, I think is doable. It's not exposing you to obscene amount of risk, but you still can blow your account doing that over and over and over again, losing control, having a number of trades that you're willing to take in a day, and knowing when to stop. Like, they're all rules that you have to have. And that's all part of what makes your multiplier, your setup, your pattern, your unique model. There's things you have to bring to it, not just simply, oh, I'm looking for fair value gap after a shift in market structure and looking for, a discount or a premium array to attack. Okay, well, what are you going to risk on your trade? And what happens if you take a loss on that trade? How are you going to engage? When will you stop? See, when I go into live streams, I know we were supposed to stop talking, right? I'm awake, so I'm still talking. When I'm on live streams and I get a chance to ask the person that's doing the live stream, I ask questions like this. I'm like, what tells you when to stop? Like, when do you pull the plug on your trading for the day? Is there a certain amount of money that you aim for? Once you hit it, you're done. Is there a certain number of losing trades or a percentage of equity you are willing to absorb? Or how many losing transactions do you have before you call it quits? If you make money in the morning, do you trade in the afternoon or vice versa? Like, I ask this of anyone that allows me to be able to comment. And some of these fucking live streamers are little bitches because they see me in there. Okay. Wyland. Okay. You won't answer any of my questions. And I'm being sincere. I'm a part of your audience. Okay. And you won't answer my questions. It takes your moderators to say what I said, then you'll respond to them, but whatever. But I ask the same types of questions because I'm interested in the way the trader thinks. I could give two fucks what they use to get in, because 90% of the time what they're doing is asinine shit. They're either chasing the market, legitimately chasing it, or they're just flat out wrong. But I like listening to their approach to how they internalize it. What causes the wrestling matches internally? Because that's where everybody fails. And I like listening to their answers. And for the most part, they all have the same retail responses. They just trust their gut. They when they feel the pressure of it and they just can't handle it anymore, then they stop. To me, that's bullshit. You have to have it written out. I'm going to take a losing trade once in the morning. And then if I have a losing trade in the morning, I'll go one more time. If I lose again in the morning session, there is no afternoon session. That's it. We're done. Because I'm at my 2 loss in the same session, and that means I'm probably going to be going in bitter and sore and wanting to prove something, and I want to get it all back in the afternoon. So therefore, do what? Just take it home. Go in there tomorrow and trade again. That's why I'm teaching you that way. In time, you'll know when you can go in the afternoon and correct that. But you don't know what that's like when you're brand new. You're impulsive. You have no idea what you're doing. And I have to be careful what I was going to say, because another person I like watching would probably be offended about what I'm going to say, and it wouldn't even have anything to do with them. So I'll hold that thought for a different conversation. But you have to know what causes you to say, I'm not doing it. If you take a losing trade in the morning and you don't take a second trade at all, then you can go in the afternoon, trying to just take some of the loss away. You're not trying to get it all back. You're not trying to double the loss into a gain. These are all rules that have to be outlined, written, not, well, I'll use that today because it feels like I should do it. No, you have to be rigid with these rules. Big Macs are not fucking made with chicken strips. Okay. It's the same wannabe beef in those fucking pieces of bread, lettuce, and Thousand Island sauce they call special sauce. Okay. That's a Big Mac. So they're doing it the same way all the time. Sometimes the Big Mac you get isn't fit for eating. And it's just like the fucking trade sometimes. You're going to get into it and it ain't going to be worth having. That's the way it is. Sometimes you don't get what you paid for and you get a bad result. Doesn't mean Big Macs are going to sell in the future. There's going to be lots of people that want Big Macs. And just like that model that you're following, once you identify what it is that you're going to be following, you're going to still trust it, even though it gives you once in a while lackluster or subpar results. And that is a learning curve that some of you aren't prepared for. You want it to be perfect. You want it to be painless. You want it to have no adversities coming through. Walking through the door and it's just right to the penthouse. Fuck that. No, nobody has that experience. Nobody have ever had that experience. And you're not going to be the one that gets it. Even if I was to sit down with you personally and trade live right next to you, you still would have adversities. You're going to have uncomfortable periods where you're not going to know. Like, think about it. When I'm doing certain things in videos, like, how did you know this? And how'd you know? And I'm expecting you to talk about, hey, that entry pattern was framed on this logic here, and your stop loss was framed on that. And how'd you get to that target? You're worrying about other shit. That's the least important thing. Why didn't you use that fair value gap versus this one when that question you're asking is actually answered in the 2022 commentaries? You got to get past the first couple videos, folks. You got to watch them all. That's why I put it in there. So it's not for a lack of trying. I put the information in the lectures, but you have to watch them and not just listen to them. You got to take notes and then go and say, okay, what he said about the market doing these certain things. Let me see if I can go and see it. And boom, there you'll see it. And then it's now understood. You don't need to watch the videos 15 times to get the real flavor of what I'm trying to communicate. You'll see what it is, and then you won't need to go back to that topic anymore. But anyway, I'm quite certain my wife is flipping out down there, and my children's probably asked my mom, their mother rather. Dad's been up here a long time. Yes, I have. I've had a lot of fun tonight, and I'm feeling much better, and I've thoroughly enjoyed having this discussion with you. It maybe not so much answered the nuts and bolts of what it is that you should do, because if you're leaving this discussion feeling like 25%, 30% a month is doable consistently, I'm going to argue that with you. Because if you're starting out just now and you think that's a goal for you to be trying to go for right away, don't do that. Especially if you finally arrive at a point where you're funded and you have access to be able to take money from a company that makes it available to you. Be comfortable with doing the least in the beginning, because it's so easy to ruin it for yourself. And it's such a hard thing to climb back out of. It's much easier to defer instant gratification trying to do a lottery win or a big windfall victory, because once you suffer that, it stays with you. It's something that will plague every decision you ever make going forward. I can't tell you how many times when I put a trade on, as soon as I push the button, sometimes I'll have a flashback of something I did in another market decades ago. And I wasn't even thinking about that market or that even remotely happening in recent weeks, days, or months. But something triggers a memory and I'm like, oh shit. And it causes me to second guess something, which causes me to get slippage on the position entry. That's normal. Like, that's a normal thing. But when I first started encountering that, I felt like there was something wrong with me. No, it's just I have a lot of experience. And because I was learning to do this improperly, because I didn't have a mentor sitting down with me in the beginning, The good Lord himself was the one that was giving me the tenacity to stick with this and guide me through all the turmoil. But I didn't have like this guy like you got right now that's bloviating on about what you should and shouldn't do. And it's hard to climb out of that, well, pit once you place yourself there, even if it's a small little drawdown. There isn't enough encouragement to fix that stain that puts on your career as a trader, because you all want to walk through with perfect linen, no soil, no stains, no tears in your garments. That's not going to happen. You're going to get beat up. You're going to get a black eye, a deviated septum, broken ribs, might lose a couple teeth. You're going to lose some hair. It's going to gray. You're going to have all kinds of struggles the longer you do this. And it's all part of it. And you got to know what you're getting involved in, because it's not all peaches and cream here. You have to be comfortable with, I'm losing sometimes. And that's fucking fun because it's not taking me out. I'm going to win. Every time I have a losing trade, the next trade, I'm trying to be even more precise with my entry and more precise with my exit. And I'm doing it with less risk. And I turn it into a way of personal victory, doing exactly what I'm supposed to do within the rules and the context of how I'm trading. And if you do that, guess what it does for you as a byproduct? It prevents you from going lunacy, like losing your mind, trying to get it back all right away. You won't have any anxiety about forcing yourself and being correct in trying to repair the drawdown right away. And here's the other thing. You won't regret not catching the big windfall wins. Think about how many times have you watched me do a trade or watched the market tear off, and you can see it in hindsight. Oh, if I would have just been there, I could have done that. See, that's a problem for a new trader. That's a huge, huge problem. Only recently in the last, I don't know, maybe 8 years or so, fear of missing out, FOMO, has made its way to the vocabulary of a new startup trader. When we were coming up in the 90s and even before me, folks would make no mention of fearing missing a move. We were all scared shitless. Like we were afraid to get in the markets because we were told what? Everybody loses their ass in the commodity markets. Don't trade commodities. Well, you know me. You say don't step on the grass, I'm going to moonwalk across that shit. So I jumped in there fearless and I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make money, and then lost my ass right away. So I had to learn how to trade. You are going to fear missing out on all these moves until you adopt a model and you execute and operate only in the context and rules and parameters of that model. When you do that, you will, number one, be sober-minded about how making money is the number one common denominator, why you're doing what you're doing. You're not in here to try to impress anybody. You're here to make fucking money. That's it. You got bills to pay. You have a lifestyle you're trying to flesh out for you and your family. There's no shame in that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And having lots of money, that's not evil. The love of money is the root of evil. Not having a lot of money is evil. That's bullshit. That's a twisting of it. So having a lot of money is wonderful because you can do lots of things with money with the right mindset and heart. You can do a lot of good things for other people. But if you don't have a model, you will look at moves tear off, and you not being a part of that move will make you do what? Regret, chase, and have remorse for not having been a part of it. And that fear of missing out on the next one will drive you crazy. But now if you have a model that tells you, I'm engaging, I'm only going to get this many points during this session. Once I get it, I'm stopping. I'm closing my fucking charts. I'll come back in the afternoon if my model says I can. If it says no, I close it and I come back the next day. And that makes you money. And you're not worrying about anything else outside of that because you're keeping your focus on following the fucking rules. If you follow the rules when you're driving your car and you follow all the laws, you don't speed, you stay on your right side of the fucking road, and the next person does the same way. And as long as there's no weather issue, chances are you're probably going to arrive in one piece. Change any of those circumstances, and guess what you've invited? Chaos. And chaos likes to come in there in an astonishing manner. Sometimes much more expensive than you've ever imagined it would be. And yes, the same thing you'll get in your trading. If you open yourself up to things that your parameters and your rules are meant to protect you from, what's it protecting you from? Yourself. See, the broker isn't going to do anything to you. The market is not going to do anything to you outside of what you allow. It can't take anything from you if you don't enter the trade. It can't take more money from you than you've allowed it to through leverage and your stop placement. Your broker can't make you put the trade on, and your broker can't make you take the trade off unless it margins you out. So who's really running this shit? You are. But everybody, when they first start, they like to find the fault with somebody else. Oh, this guy taught me bullshit. This guy didn't teach me this way. Oh, my broker didn't let me do this, and I did that, and I did this. No, own it. You fucked up. It's a learning experience. Grow from it. How do you present a track record of consistency without having a rule-based model? I don't understand that, because I'm not impressed with somebody just winging it, putting trades on sometimes with a stop loss, sometimes not, and only coming out of drawdown when you have the highest level of contracts you can afford, even if it's real account. That to me is not skill. That's just somebody that's just trying to dig their way out of a pit. And that's the extreme of it. And you don't want to open yourself up to any of those types of things because they're avoidable, number one. And it's all rooted in public image, whether it be your friends and family and coworkers or the circle on your social media platforms, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Discord, Telegram, whatever the hell it is. Those people are not going to increase your bottom line. They're not. But guess what they can do? They can affect it adversely because they're going to influence you into making you feel like you didn't do enough. You didn't impress them. You didn't have enough size on that position to warrant a like or a comment from somebody or a reaction from someone. If everything you're doing in your trades is geared at trying to get public acceptance or my acceptance by a like or a retweet or something to that effect, you're doing it wrong. It doesn't matter what I think or anybody else thinks. Did you follow your rules? Did your model deliver like you expected it to do? Did you manage risk impeccably? If you've done that, do the same thing the next time. And that's all it fucking matters. That's it. That's all this is. That's all trading is. You're keeping the bullshit out. You're not letting toxicity come in, whether it be from your friends and family, coworkers, or social media. See, social media is that fucking relative that comes to the fucking Christmas party and shit that damn well every time they come there, they're drunk, they're disorganized, they're dysfunctional. They bring all the bullshit. They're the black cloud that comes in there, and every horror story that can be talked about, they're the one bringing it. And you feel like they sucked the life out of the entire experience. That's what social media is. It's the unwanted cousin that you didn't want to have show up at fucking Thanksgiving. That's what social media is. And you all love them. You keep signing into it, loving it. Because you're addicted to that drama. You're addicted to that bullshit. And none of that's going to make you money. None of it. It'll distract you. You'll miss trades. You'll worry about bullshit. And the whole time, the market just presented something that you just missed. So you're going to have to be a guard of your attention. Who are you giving your time to? Are you giving your time to someone that's actively pursuing a better outcome for you? Or are you watching somebody that's trying to sell something to hopefully get money out of your pocket into theirs? Have you listened to other people pour themselves into you like you're getting right now for free? And this is real world shit. Like I've lived all this stuff. Or are you getting a sales pitch later on? A coupon code, some horse shit.